locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
One, two, three.
Constipated?
No, that's the Braun Strowman. Yeah, that's what he does.
He could have fooled me. Could have fooled me.
I
And
like when he
everybody
does that.
and anybody else. I'm going to stop saying everybody else listening. I'm going to switch it to anybody else listening. Because I don't even know that there is. And,
Everybody.
And if
Everybody.
And if there's somebody listening out there, I want to just ask one question. Why?
Well, because I am the highlight of the night, special delight.
Oh, boy.
Duke Loves Rasslin is in your airwaves, folks. Everybody say, that's right. See? You like that, don't you?
I didn't hear anybody because there's nobody.
Well, you're here. That's a start.
Yeah, well,
right?
Yeah. Take that while you can get it. Let me just put that out to you.
Let me tell you something about Braun Strowman. Here you have this big, scary dude, right?
Yep.
And he's a big, scary dude.
Yeah.
Kids love him. They run up to him. He hugs them, lifts them up, but they instinctively go to him as opposed to run away from him.
Well, because he looks like one of those like Barney. Like he looks like a dinosaur. He looks like a person in a big fluffy suit.
Are you kidding me right now?
Just saying, he's
Braun Strowman?
Yeah.
He's a big, muscled up dude. He's a strong man.
But he looks like he could be like a guy wearing a suit.
Huh. Interesting.
So kids just see this big dude, you know.
Is that what it? I would love for you to say that to Braun Strowman to his face. He would break you in half.
No, he wouldn't. He'd be
All
nice,
right?
like he is to little kids.
Yeah, he'd probably be nice because you're a little kid. So
you know why? Because he's not mean to the little kids like some of the WWE.
Don't start with the Kevin Owens thing where he made the kid cry and all that.
That does a lot for your business, doesn't it?
Well,
one less kid to buy your stupid toy and put money in your pocket.
That's actually a very good point, though.
Friggin' moron.
Jesus. Welcome back to Duke Loves Rasslin, the show about pro wrestling and everything else. That's right. We cover it all, folks. I am the Duke, the man of the hour. I'm joined by my illustrious co-host, the Boston bad boy, Iron Mike Pelosi. Opened up a little something there.
It's Miller time.
Okay. Except that's not Miller. What is that? That's a limited edition can of what?
It's a can of whoop ass.
Okay.
And I'm opening it up on you tonight.
Wow.
So why don't you stop telling people what I'm drinking and get on with your stupid little show so I can get the hell out of here and go have some dinner like a normal human being.
No, you have to work first, then eat. Okay?
Work.
Remember that.
Work. Is this what you consider work? Because you know what? It goes along with everything else in your life. Very little effort and not good at it.
I had a guy.
And so if that's work to you, then now I understand a lot more about you.
I had a guy, shout out Mr. Howard was his name there, and he used to say, okay, we got to work first and eat. He had like a southern accent. And then I would say, no, Mr. Howard, we should eat first and work. And he goes, well, how about we eat first and seat row? He threatened to give me a 0 because I said that to him. Okay?
Well, you were mouthy as a child. I will say that.
A little mouthy.
And you still are mouthy.
Well,
your mother, I have to have words with her. She's a wonderful lady.
She's not happy with you.
But, she should have taken the belt to you a few more times.
Oh, she wants to take the belt to you.
No, I don't think so.
Just so you know.
I
She's not happy
really
with
don't
you.
think so, because what's happening here is you're telling her lies about me.
Oh, okay.
And she doesn't know the truth about her own son.
Oh.
And I think when she finds out,
well, I have a gag order on you, so I'm not worried about that.
I'm not worried about it because your mom is a public servant.
Yeah.
And I, as a member of the public, she has a duty to uphold the law, which is throwing your ass in jail.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because your constant harassment of me, it will not stand.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where this is going.
Yeah. Good luck getting home tonight, Sal.
So
right?
let me just tell you, when you get the knock on the door, Ma, I come for visit, and she says, please turn around, put your hand behind my back, and the right to remain silent. I mean, you know how it goes.
Is that how it goes?
Just know that was me.
Are you done?
It was me the whole time.
It was me, Austin. Yeah. We got our man, Sean Reed of Pugilism Co. He's going to come on. He's going to talk about combat sports. I may pepper him with a few other questions. You know, Reed knows about all sports.
Yeah, a lot more than you.
He keeps reminding us that he knows about all sports. The last 3 or 4 times he's come on, he said, you can ask me about other stuff, too. So I'm going to test him.
All right.
I'm going to just throw some stuff out there.
Because I could, as much as I don't care about wrestling, I care about other sports even less.
Okay.
So, because you know what? I'm just generally above it all.
Oh, is that what it is?
So I don't need to know about these things. It's down there.
Huh.
Yeah, I let you can talk about it because again, you clearly have nothing else to do.
You're a piece of work. You're a piece of work. We'll also go over the top stories in the world of professional wrestling, aka Run the Ropes. plus so much more. But before we get to any of that,
Oh, boy.
Boston Bad Boy.
What?
I'm going to bring up something because I heard a story, and I just want to confirm if this is true. In your real life, outside of this fantastic show, I heard that there's some items that have been missing from your office.
Oh,
Huh?
well.
You got a little situation going on over there, huh?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
There is a person who shall remain nameless who has recently moved into the office area.
Okay.
Don't really know this person, but they're a known person. Let me just say, this person is a person other people may have heard of.
Big name.
Big name. And this person is a bit odd. Whatever. Granted, there's a lot of odd people in the business.
I'm odd. I'm very odd.
Yeah. So, over the past couple of weeks, various items have gone missing. And then been returned mysteriously to the places where they, were.
So they grow legs and walk away, but
Exactly,
they find their way home.
find their way home.
Oh, okay.
So that makes you think, well, stolen is one thing. It coming back means it's an inside. The call's coming from inside the house. You know what I mean? It's an inside job.
Scream.
So it gets brought to the attention of this person's superior, who I happen to be friendly with, and I say, "Listen, you got to get your boy in line, okay?" And that
Real
was
tough guy here.
Yeah, and I said, "You got to get." Well, I said,
He's
MF.
giving out orders.
I
now.
said, "MFing." I said, "You got to get your MFing boy in line," and they laughed like you just did. And I said, "No, but seriously, because I don't like people touching my shit.
Uh-oh.
I don't go where I don't belong.
Yep.
I don't want people coming where they don't belong.
So
I barely let you into my office.
you got this wrestling podcast going on, so now you're a tough guy. You're threatening people.
tougher
I don't
than
want
you
to
are.
Yeah,
I'm
listen to
tougher
this
than you
guy.
are.
He puffs up his chest here, folks.
So it turns out that this person at their previous place of work went so far as to have someone have to set up a camera
Oh no.
to catch them in the act of stealing food from the company refrigerator where
That
people
is
keep their
the
lunches
worst.
and their food.
The
Now, I
worst.
work in a business where people work all shifts. So you have your lunch, you get the people come in later, have their dinner. Food, it's like on a submarine. It's morale. You don't F with a man or a woman's lunch. You don't do it. And they would, no, denied. And they said, okay,
Yep.
set up a camera,
Busted.
caught you in the act.
Busted.
Caught you in the act.
See? It's like To Catch a Predator. Remember the guy, the Chris, whatever his name was, To Catch a Predator? He just come out of the room, have a seat.
You know what? I'm going to do it with this guy. I'm going to do that. I'm going to set a trap, and I'm going to wear the Chris Hansen.
Have a seat.
I'm going to wear the Chris Hansen. I'm going to the stool.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to come out the exit he was going to run out of, and there's no way out.
I'm having too much fun with this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but the best part is he would say, have a seat, and they would actually do it. They would sit down.
Yeah, and I have to say, as strange and unsettling as this story is, it pales in comparison to a story about another employee who was a mystery shitter and would defecate in different places around the office.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. So
see that?
We've moved on. We've improved a little bit. I mean,
strange
listen,
place of business.
I will stand a bit of thievery. So long as I'm not dealing with the defecation.
We're going to put up a poll, folks. What would you do? Or better yet, what finishing move should the Boston Bad Boy perform on this person who clearly is touching his stuff in the office there?
Yeah.
Or, and better yet, if food becomes missing, like let's say a bottle of root beer gets up and walks away.
Let's say a delicious sandwich.
A delicious sandwich. See that? Like a barnyard cheese.
Like a barnyard cheese.
Duke sandwich. Huh?
No, I would never eat that.
Well,
but,
I bet the Duke
a
sandwich wouldn't
delicious
last. They would
sandwich.
steal
No.
a Duke sandwich.
No,
they definitely would do that. So we'll put up the poll, folks. What finishing move should the Boston Bad Boy perform on this individual?
Yeah. And then, based on those results, I will then perform the move, film it happening, and expose this person, who is very protective of their identity, by the way. I will expose this person for the world to see.
Listen, you get it to Steve Cox, and like he said, he's going to put it on the internet, and that'll be the end of that, right?
It's like an inner tube.
Yeah.
But it's the internet.
Internet.
Internet,
That's
yeah,
it.
exactly.
And with that said, run the ropes. It's time to run the ropes. It's when I educate this knucklehead Boston Bad Boy on the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling. Let's go. Charlotte Flair injured. This is a tough one here, Boston Bad Boy.
I mean,
you saw that.
well.
So Charlotte Flair, she has breast implants.
Enhancements.
Enhancements, but they're implants. And one has started to leak.
Yeah.
There's a little rupture going on there.
Yep.
So she's going to have emergency surgery really soon. And this is tough because they have some events coming up. They're touring the UK right now.
There is some recovery time with that.
And there's some recovery time depending on how bad it is.
And I just want Charlotte Flair to know that when we're together and I'm married into the Flair family,
oh my God,
that I will tend to her injured breast and the uninjured one. And, just to make Duke upset, but also because I'm a nice guy and I'm there for the people that I care about. So I just want to put that out there.
Listen, let me just make this clear, okay? I don't want you anywhere near the Flair family. We've already had this conversation. I'm going to marry into the Flair family so I can be Ric Flair's son-in-law, like my good friend Conrad Thompson.
You know what? It's going to be nice. It's going to be like, Christmas Eve, me and Dad Rick, we're going to be sitting on the sofa in front of the Christmas tree.
You're gonna be dressed the same, with the footy pajamas and all that.
The silk Christmas-themed Ric Flair robe. He got me one to match. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then we're having the eggnog, and we're just telling all these great stories that no one knows, at least of all you. And I'm going to be texting you saying, Duke, you won't believe what Rick said. Oh, sorry, my phone's dying. And Merry Christmas. And then you'll be like George Bailey on Christmas, jumping off the bridge into the freezing cold water.
You were very
wondering
rude.
what happened to your life.
You're very rude. Okay?
Wondering what happened.
You're
to your
very
life.
rude. Well, Charlotte, we wish you the best, a speedy recovery. It's a common injury, so hope you feel better there. Brandy Rhodes injured. This is like the week of injuries here.
Well,
so Cody Rhodes' wife, Brandy, she was wrestling in Japan, and she has multiple fractures on her collarbone.
Oh,
that's a tough one. That's a tough one. What do you do with that? Do you wear a sling when you break your collarbone? Is that
I think
thing?
I think they actually do that. Don't they cast it?
Yeah, they got to cast that whole.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, it depends, I guess, on how severe the break is. But.
Yeah. Well, she has multiple fractures, so that's multiple breaks in the same area. That's tough. Wrestling is a tough sport, folks. That's the main idea. Okay. Everyone went, oh, it's fake. There's still people. You watch that fake stuff. They still say that to me.
Oh yeah. They said that to me. They said, "Why are you on a podcast about that fake stuff?"
Oh, well, let's have them break their collarbone.
And I say, it's a fake podcast. So it all works out in the end.
This is not a fake podcast. This is a real podcast.
I think it might exist only in your mind.
Oh, okay. Well, get well, Brandy Rhodes, and don't listen to Boston Bad Boy. This is very real. Very real, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you really threw me off.
Yeah, get your list going. Go ahead.
No,
you
threw me off.
You're like Walter Cronkite over there with your notes.
I'm
you're talking about the moon landing.
With the fact that you said that to me, though.
Well,
okay, this is not a fake podcast.
I don't know. You might wake up like the Wizard of Oz with your mom and your loved ones looking over you, going, "You all right? You've been out for 2 days."
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be black and white when you wake up.
Get out of here. Chris Jericho back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. This guy, he's all over the place. So he's in WWE, then he goes back to Japan, and he's back. He does all these things. He attacks Naito, busts him wide open, New Japan Pro Wrestling, big surprise. It's pretty cool.
You think he's making money doing that?
Tons of money.
Tons of money.
Tons of money.
Well, why do some guys get to make tons of money bopping around and other guys are locked into a Vince McMahon can't get out of a contract?
This is what I think it is, and I'm going to expose something here. This is just my theory.
Here we go.
Well, listen, Chris Jericho is banned from being on this podcast. All right, I banned him last year, and I haven't lifted the ban.
That doesn't really count because I control the guests.
I don't like his attitude.
I control the guests.
But I still don't like his attitude. But I think this is a ploy by my good friend Vince McMahon. He sends Jericho over to Japan. Figures out who they're going to steal next.
Interesting. He's on a fishing trip.
He's on a fishing trip. And the other company, they just know that we got Chris Jericho.
Right, so they can't say no. They made him an offer he can't refuse.
Because he brings in tons of people have ordered their subscription-based service similar to the WWE because Jericho was on it. So he's made them a ton of money. But I think Jericho is plucking stars. That's what's happening. I think that's what's happening. So in the end, who's going to win?
I don't know. I think that the WWE will misstep once again because they treat all of their persons of color, as far as the wrestlers that come in, poorly. They either make them into caricatures, or they don't put them over where they're supposed to, or it's a struggle for them to get over. Or they make fun of the fact that they don't speak English well. So he may be on a fishing trip, but it's just it's just to satisfy some itch that Vince has at the moment.
I'm sick of you. Vince, don't listen to him.
Vince doesn't listen to this show, so that won't be a problem.
Oh, he listens to the show. Alexa Bliss injured. Jeez, what is going
Hey,
on?
what is this? This is like General Hospital over here.
These are big stories here. So Alexa Bliss, she was in a match with Nia Jax, who, Nia was taking some liberties, as she does at times. And Alexa has I believe it's a back and a shoulder injury. This is tough. And she's my MVP. I love Alexa Bliss, okay? So I'm not happy about this. I'm going to tell you something, Nia Jax. Watch it, okay? Do not do this again, or there's going to be some big problems.
This has nothing to do with the individual wrestlers. This has to do with the broken system the WWE has, where a lot of their young talent is getting injured. That's what this all leads to.
You just make this stuff
No, this
up.
is think about this. Think about this.
No.
Think about this.
No,
when
I
did
don't
you
wanna think
hear
about it.
about these constant injuries 15 years ago?
Because they
20
covered
years
it up.
ago.
It's the internet age now. Everybody finds out everything now. What are you talking about?
Is that what you think?
Yeah.
Is that what you think?
That's what I know.
I think guys who had 40, 50-year-long careers and are still in decent shape was because they were in a system that took care of them and understood they weren't considered disposable by the Vince McMahons of the world. So I think that what's happening now is you're seeing a fast and loose with the program, fast and loose with the care given to the performers, the workers, the athletes, whatever you want to call them. And I think that that's what's leading to a lot of this young talent. I think that's why the roster's so big and so gangly, because they know it's going to be a war of attrition. And they're just waiting for it to settle itself out. That's why they don't invest in anybody. That's why they don't write good storylines, because they really don't know who's going to be around in a year or two, because these people are working so recklessly.
Thank you for that load of crap.
Yeah. Okay. You can say it as loud as you want and as close to the microphone as you want.
I had to go closer to the microphone.
I saw
to say
you do that, and you know what? It's not a load of crap, and I will be proven right. As always, I am on this show.
And the number one story in the world of professional wrestling is...
I'm right.
You're not right.
Oh.
Total Bellas and Total Divas renewed.
I can't believe it.
That's right.
For the one viewer, you.
For another 2 years. Both shows renewed on the E Entertainment
You would think that
television
after,
network.
how long has E existed? It's
a long time, actually.
30 years?
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
You think they would have figured out a way to actually put real television on. I mean, after all these years, they're filling it with the Real Housewives of Wrestling. And it's sad that you watch it.
Did you just call it the Real Housewives
The
of
Real
Wrestling?
Housewives of Wrestling.
What a jerk.
By the way, they missed an opportunity with that, and I've trademarked that, so they better
is
not.
that what you did?
I'm copywriting that right now.
Oh, my God.
The Real Housewives of Wrestling. By the way, when I'm doing my new podcast called The Real Housewives of Wrestling,
That'll
which
never
you will
happen.
not be involved
That'll
in,
never happen.
when I get some big name female wrestling talent, don't come knocking on my door, okay? Because the door for you, my friend, is closed.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but shout out to everybody who's part of both franchises, Total Bellas and Total Divas. You've worked very hard. Thank you for sharing your lives with us.
It's very hard for you to have a conversation over lunch while someone films you, and then you're talking about your pets.
It's very
talking
difficult.
about
it's very difficult.
Yeah,
okay?
it's difficult.
Because I'm a famous guy, and people follow me around and watch me, and that's hard.
That's because you are on no-fly lists. That's why people following you. It's not because you're famous. It's because you're suspicious.
That's not true. Okay, please, Alphabet Boys, leave me alone. You heard what I think. Now, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm a jerk? Maybe something in between? Head over to Facebook. Head over to Twitter. Type in Duke Loves Rasslin and let me know. Up next, our main man from Pugilism Co., Sean Reed.
This is former WWE superstar Al Snow and magician to the blind. You're listening to Duke Loves Rasslin. Hello.
Reed.
Duke, what's going on?
Another day in paradise, brother. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are we doing?
Great. I'm just over here. The Boston bad boy, he's been talking a bunch of nonsense because Des Bryant is no more in our beloved Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
So he's been rubbing it in there, Reed. What are you hearing out in your neck of the woods there about that whole mess?
I'm hearing that it's like anything else. First of all, we know that the receiver position, that's where most of your divas play. And with Dez, there's always been a level of baggage since before he came into the league. His upbringing wasn't the best. He's tried to make the most of it. But with the Cowboys, they've had to take special care of him and with him. I remember for the longest he had like legitimate babysitters who would always be with him.
Oh, yeah.
He avoided the seedy clubs and got in at a decent hour. Well, that was all fine when Dez was putting up 10 touchdowns a year and 1,100 yards. But now after his last 3 seasons, it's like, we don't really want to do this anymore. And you're having these sideline tirades, and then you drop balls after the tirades. It's a bad marriage. There's love on both sides, but, yeah, man, it was sad. What saddened me the most is they didn't even offer him a restructured contract. I thought, okay, they'll tell him, we're not paying you $16 million, dude. You're not a $16 million receiver. They didn't even offer to restructure it. That's what saddened me more than anything.
No, they just wanted to get up under him and just say, that's it. We're done with this guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, you brought up an interesting point. They set him up with handlers for the beginning portion of his career with the Cowboys. They did that with Martellus Bennett when they drafted him as well. I don't know if you remember when Dallas Cowboys were on Hard Knocks, that HBO show there, or at least it was HBO at the time. Martellus Bennett had handlers, and because he wasn't a natural football player, if you remember. He was a basketball player that they converted over because he was such a great athlete.
Right.
So they had coaches who were literally teaching him how to be a receiver and how to be an efficient receiver. And it was really the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen in my life in the beginning. But what can you say about the guy? He had a pretty damn good career in the end, huh?
Yeah. Won a Super Bowl with the Patriots. You know, made some noise in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, he had a respectable career. Probably, given his size, we expected more when we drafted him, but it turns out we drafted him and then he excelled elsewhere.
Yeah, he was pretty green. He was pretty green.
You know, the two of you are really putting me to sleep with all this boring football.
Stop it.
Never mind Dallas talk. And when we have Reed on from pugilismco.com, I want to hear about some real exciting blood sport is what I want to hear about.
We're getting there. Reed is a man that of many abilities.
Oh,
here,
no. This is not a questioning of Reed's talent. It's a questioning of how much I want to listen to you go on endlessly, and I don't want to waste the man's time.
Okay. Well, Reed, let's talk about Daniel Cormier for a second from UFC here. He has expressed interest in becoming a WWE superstar, and we know he loves pro wrestling just in general. What do you think of that possibility there?
Is he talking about doing this like after his UFC career is over, or is he wanting to do this now?
Oh no, they're looking at the type of money that Brock Lesnar is making, and that Ronda Rousey and her crew, Shayna Baszler, and that crew they're picking up in the WWE, and a lot of these UFC stars are starting to say, hey, we can go over there right now and make a couple mil without getting hurt. Let's do it.
I don't really like it because what you're doing is you're watering down not only pro wrestling but also MMA. We already have a full roster of guys over here, and while Cormier is a well-spoken dude, I mean he's one of their better commentators, in-studio commentators. I don't know that he could get on the mic and captivate a crowd with promos the way you need to be in WWE. I mean, hell, Ronda Rousey is well-spoken, but she's terrible in promos. She doesn't even try to do them, right?
No.
Exactly. More on Cormier, if he does make this move, I just hope they get the brother a onesie, because with his shirt off, he's built like I am, and that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. So get him a onesie, and then maybe. But theoretically, I don't like it. You're still in the prime of your mixed martial arts career, dude. And you're taking spot from somebody who could use a shot in the WWE.
That's the truth.
I don't really like it, to be honest.
That's the truth, and it's funny. Of course, you had to say that about the onesie there, Daniel Cormier. You got the dad bod, man. Shout out to all the fighters with the dad bods there. I'm built almost exactly like that guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't go around bragging about that.
Well, that's the truth. Yeah. So
I've had a dad bod for many years
before he was a dad.
What's going on in the boxing world there, Reed? Anything exciting in the last month or so?
Well, this weekend we have Vasyl Lomachenko. He's probably the best fighter in the world, pound for pound. He's on the short list for sure. Him, Earl Spence Jr., Mikey Garcia, Terrence Crawford, Gennady Golovkin, who just recently fought last weekend.
Triple G,
Did
yeah.
you guys hear about that whole spiel, that whole episode?
Yeah. What was the real deal behind the scenes there with that Triple G fight?
So he fought a replacement opponent named Vanis Martirosyan. The replacement opponent came in because Canelo Alvarez tested positive for a banned substance called clenbuterol. This substance is known to enhance stamina, and if anyone has seen Canelo fight, that's his biggest flaw. Is he's a spurt fighter. He'll throw 7 or 8 good punches, and he'll need to catch his breath. It's a clear case of him getting caught red-handed, but he's saying that he ate some contaminated meat in Mexico.
Give me a break. Everybody's saying that now, right? Because they pump their meats with steroids, but, I mean, come on. You'd have to eat a lot of that for it to affect you where you're testing positive like that.
There's a lot of sexual innuendo. We could work into that.
Yeah, can we not? I don't have the stomach for it today, guys.
I won't. Right, I won't. You guys are professional.
No, I wouldn't go that far, but, you know.
But just knowing it enhances stamina, and then his excuse, I'm not expecting him to say, hey, I'm sorry, y'all, I did it, my bad. But give me a better excuse than that.
Yeah, seriously.
Give me a better excuse than that. But that's why Martirosyan was there. Martirosyan came in like a week and a half notice. He moved up a weight class. He had been inactive for right at 2 years, and he had lost 3 of his last 6 fights. So the writing was on the wall. Now, the KO itself, one thing about Triple G, he may or may not still be the best fighter in the world, but there's no doubt he is still the best finisher in the world right now. When he's got a man hurt, it's a wrap. It is a wrap when he gets you hurt, and he took him out in style.
No, that's the truth. And speaking of controversy here, while we're on the topic of boxing, what the hell is going on with Adrian Bronner? I mean, the man who had his father brushing his hair on national TV a few years ago, you know, acting like a fool and what have you. What happened with him during his last fight there?
His last fight was against Jesse Vargas, and it was a draw.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 890-something thousand people watched it. It was the second largest Showtime telecast of the year. For whatever reason, he's a draw, man. It's his out of the ring antics. It keeps him in the tabloids. I heard he recently had one of his chains taken from him in a nightclub.
Yep.
He's that dude. Now there's rumors that he may or may not be homosexual, and he may have been tampered with as a child. It just,
wow.
You know, one day he's trying to kill himself, the next day he's sucker punching a dude on the Vegas Strip. There's just never a dull moment with Adrian Bronner, and that's why he gets the ratings that he does.
I wonder about him because there was a period where you really thought that he was going to be something. I mean, he was part of Floyd Mayweather's team there, and he was being promoted and what have you. And then it just seems like within the past 3 years, he's gone off the rails a little bit.
He and I'm not the biggest. I appreciate and respect Floyd. Not the biggest fan of the way he's carried himself once he made up the Money Mayweather character. But people like Bronner, they see the backside of Floyd's career. They don't realize Floyd busted his ass for 10-plus years off the radar as a pro before he got into position to be Money May. Guys like Bronner, they see, oh, Floyd, he's got the jewelry, he's got all these cars. Yeah, he's talking about money. And they try to shortcut their way to where Floyd is. That's where it's bad enough to try to steal another man's shtick. But at least if you're going to do that, work as hard as that man worked to get to where he is. And Bronner has shortcut the process the whole time, which is why he's losing fights like he has and not being as impressive as he could be.
That's a hot take right there. We're talking to Sean Reed, Pugilism Co. The man covers all sports, especially combat sports. Now, Reed, recently the WWE signed a 10-year contract with Saudi Arabia. They're bringing pro wrestling to Saudi Arabia, and they put on the greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which is actually the third pay-per-view in a matter of 4 weeks. Crazy.
Right.
Unfortunately, Saudi Arabia, you know, because of their laws, it's tied into the religion with Islam, women are not allowed to participate in sporting events. They're not allowed to dress freely or any way that they want to dress. They have to dress very conservatively and what have you. So as a result of the two there, the female wrestlers on the WWE roster, they were paid and paid very well, but they were not allowed to perform in Saudi Arabia on the greatest Royal Rumble card. So my question to you, Reed, because you're a man that understands the business aspect of sports and branding, what have you. You've done some promoting yourself. How do you handle something like that where on one hand, they have a women's revolution where they're trying to promote female athletes, and we're trying to get to a point where women are on equal footing as the men in the wrestling business. And then you turn around and you're doing business with a nation that absolutely is very tough on women, won't even allow them to do something like perform. So how do you reconcile that, Reed?
I don't know how you reconcile it, Duke. I guess the only way you can is you keep harping on the word business. And we know Saudi Arabia is a filthy rich country. However much it takes to have you bring your product and not have your ladies perform and abide by all rules, then Saudi Arabia obviously and gladly paid that. It's clearly a mixed message, though. I mean, on one hand, the WWE will say, oh, we're inclusive. We promote gender equality. We encourage women in the workplace, free of sexual harassment. But then you turn around and do this. It's almost reminiscent to me of the NFL and the owner stances during the anthem protests.
Absolutely.
We support your right to free speech. We support your right to peacefully protest. We want you to demonstratively support your culture and your community and use your platform. Just don't make your community support platform privy on camera before kickoff. If you can do that, we'll be great.
And don't expect to necessarily be employed when you're done with it.
Right, and don't be employed.
Yeah.
You can say it's support. To me, support is unconditional, just like love. If you support me unconditionally. And what these ladies are learning is the support they're getting from WWE is conditional.
Well, and it's also, it has to go back to business because that's the only somewhat logical path you can take. But didn't we decide in this country a long time ago that your right to do business doesn't supersede somebody else's right to exist and have a career? I made this point to Duke last week, which is, what if the WWE went to some hypothetical country that still had segregated water fountains and they didn't want black folk to wrestle in their country? Would they still go and say, well, we paid all the black people in our company, they got to come, but we paid them to sit on the sidelines, but, that's okay, everything's fine. So what, we're doing business with a company that doesn't want other races wrestling. What's the difference?
That's a great analogy, Mike. I mean, it's conditional. To me, if I'm a business owner, you want all of my business transparently constructed, or you want none of it. It's all or nothing. Right. Simple as that.
Well,
either my ladies can perform, or we're not performing as a WWE.
Well, what it is it's negligent, because as a company that is a media company, it is broadcasting that it's okay to do this. That they're normalizing it, and again, cultural differences and all that, and the religion is one thing. But if you take that and you put it into the WWE mold, and you broadcast out it around the world, and kids and whoever else who may not be the most educated people in the world, in even this country, seeing that it's okay, it's normalizing that, oh, well, women can sit on the sidelines as long as we throw them a little bit of cash. What? That makes no sense. And what's the next step? Right. Well, women sit on the sidelines in WWE, and that guy shouldn't have to bake a cake for a gay couple. And well, just because that black guy's taking a nap in the park, we should call the cops on. Why are they part of this spiral instead of taking what they have, which is a major platform, and not necessarily being advocates on one end, but they've been trying to say they are, but just be normal. Just be equal.
It's a slippery slope for sure, Mr. Bad Boy. I don't have the answer here, gentlemen.
No,
I just hope the ladies made enough to pacify their obvious disappointment in this situation. And
that's the other thing. I mean, for the women themselves, this is your career. You've worked your entire life to get to this point. You're at the pinnacle, the WWE. And then they pull a move like this. What do you do?
So let me ask you guys this. You said the women couldn't perform, but they were there, like at the card?
No, they didn't even go.
Oh, they didn't. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. They didn't even go.
No, they didn't even go because it was just like, what's the point?
My next question was going to be, did they have to wear the hijabs, or I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. They had to have their hair covered.
So when the WWE has performed in other countries with similar situations, women had to wear different outfits, not so much a hijab, but definitely a body suit where they couldn't show any additional skin. But in this situation, they just were outlawed completely. They couldn't even be. In fact, I'll take it a step further, Reed. The video packages that the WWE shows to the fans in between matches in the beginning of the show to get everyone hyped up, they accidentally left a clip of two females wrestling, and then the government of Saudi Arabia apologized to the nation the next day, saying that we apologize for showing women wrestling, and that'll never happen again.
Oh my God.
Well,
I mean, I get it, but that's oh Lord.
No, go ahead, Reed. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, you didn't. Just it's going too far. You either want all of it. You want the WWE as currently constructed or not. You're not going to come in and take bits and pieces of what you like about us.
Right.
Unless you want to buy the entire company, and that's a whole other discussion.
Sure.
Well, but I mean,
you got to take it as it is.
The way I'm even thinking that there's an even better analogy than the one I said before, which is let's look at it as a company point of view as an employee of the company. And I said this, I think, to Duke last week as well. I said, Duke, what if I said I'm going to give you a very high-paying job at my company that makes widgets, except you need to come into a different entrance than everybody else who works here, but I'm going to pay you. You can still come and you can do, but you need to use that other entrance because you're black. Is that okay? Is Duke as a worker going to want to work there?
Hell no.
Are they going to? You know what I mean? So where does it? That's exactly what really this whole thing is from a worker perspective. It's absolutely insane. It's insane.
And to your point, at some point, someone with enough money and some off-the-wall archaic beliefs, they're going to try to pull the same power move as Saudi Arabia.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
It's coming.
100%.
And with
no win, but it's coming.
And companies that are complacent the way the WWE has been are on the wrong side of history of this, and they're making it easier for that to happen.
Yep.
They're making it easier for some evil Bond villain type guy to have some mega company that he decides, you know what, I think we need that separate entrance thing again. It's just because, blah, the way they've always done through history. Well, it's just because, but they're getting paid. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, someone's gonna cash out on their humanity to make a few bucks, or that they need a job, so you're gonna make them, walk this mile to go. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's bad, man. It's bad.
We're all on the same page on this one, thank goodness, because
for once,
I'll tell
which
you,
is nice. Actually,
some of the folks who've been trying to justify this nonsense, it really makes me scratch my head. I mean, 2018, it's like we've literally set the clock back on a lot of this nonsense going on in the world. Hey, Reed, real quick. Pro wrestling, or even specifically WWE, compared to UFC, as an athlete, what's more dangerous?
Oh, I have the ultimate respect for both sports. I recognize the sheer physicality it takes. I mean, you have to be talented at both. You can't just walk off the street and do either. Wow.
Got you on a good one now.
You put me on the spot, dude. You put me on the spot. Because your WWE combatants, they're performing literally, 340 times a year?
Yeah.
So there's way more wear and tear. It's easy to say, oh, well, it's scripted, and this guy in the octagon's really getting punched in the face. But I'm sorry, let this man body slam you every day for 340 days, and then we'll see how you feel. I have too much love and respect for both, and I'm not sitting here with a thought in my head of which I think is more grueling or better or whatever you're saying. I really don't know. I
think your chances for sudden death are better in the octagon, and I think your chances of chronic death are WWE.
Sure.
I
the
think that
long-term effects.
you have to look at you have to exactly what you said. It's wear and tear versus someone's going to get a brain embolism because they got hit in the head in the right spot.
Sure.
I would say wrestling. On that note, wrestling is where. How many stories have you heard, like the Chris Benoit story, which we're pretty sure is all attributed to his ring time?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
You don't hear those. You don't hear stories to that extreme. Maybe in football you do. But I haven't heard them in boxing.
Well, and that's and I wonder, would you say the average boxer's career is much shorter than the average NFL player or the average wrestler? I don't know. In other words, they don't have time to develop long-term brain problems like CTE and that?
I think what I've heard as far as like your combat sports, it's better for you if you get knocked clean out. Like there's still damage, but there's less damage than the guy who takes the prolonged 10-round ass whooping.
Interesting.
Muhammad Ali.
You're just not right. Ali, he wouldn't go down. He has been knocked down, but he had a real good chin.
Well, whereas
It's better
football
for him to just get knocked smooth out.
players are getting hit,
Car crash
hit.
every play.
Yeah, exactly. So in a way, that's interesting. Those sharper hits on guys that are boxing and UFC are actually somehow skating around the main cause of something like CTE because they're not doing this long-term, over and over minor concussion type thing.
Right, and you're only going to fight, like, for real, even if you're with all the restrictions and the automatic suspensions, even if you win a fight, there's a certain length of time that you have to sit out of the ring.
Sure.
So in this day and age, a world-class fighter isn't going to fight more than 4 times in a year.
Wow.
That's just impossible. Whereas you're
interesting.
going to play 16 football games,
Yep.
plus the playoffs if you're good, and then the whole.
Unless you're the Cowboys,
40.
but we're not going to get back into that.
We're not going to go there again. You just stop it right now. Reed,
We're doing so good.
I know, and then he just went down the drain there. Jesus. Reed, if folks want to read your stuff there, what's the best way they can reach the website?
The site is called Pugilism Company. That's PUGILISMCO.com. I've also recently started a boxing podcast. If you just YouTube Pugilism Company, as it sounds, Pugilism Company, just YouTube that and look for the Black Birch Sugar. That's the name that my man Sarge has anointed me with. So
Black
he
Birch
claims I
Sugar.
know everything about boxing, but I'm like, okay, we'll run with it.
I have one question before we let you go.
Okay.
Do you need a producer for your new podcast?
No, he
'Cause
doesn't
I'm
need
trying
a
to get
producer.
away from
no,
this show.
I got you under contract. You got to stop trying to get new jobs elsewhere. Reed has nothing to do with you there. Okay?
This is a very low budget.
Well, wait, you haven't seen low budget till you see where we're sitting right now. I'll tell you that, my friend. Yeah, we're lucky that there's windows in the walls.
Wait, one more before we let you go, Reed. Since you were a man that not just boxing, you know all sports. Who's going to win the NBA Finals?
I have to say Golden State. However, I'll say the winner of the Houston-Golden State series. I'm not 100% sure Golden State is going to beat Houston because they're so similar. But either team that comes out of the West, I think they have just too much firepower. I'm rooting for LeBron. I'm a LeBron fan. I just don't think he has the firepower to compete with either Golden State or Houston, sadly.
So, Boston Celtics fans, you can send your hate mail to Sean Reed at Pugilism Co. He did not even acknowledge the Celtics, so send it right to him.
I tell you what, hey, if Kyrie Irving were healthy, along with Gordon Hayward, they would beat Cleveland. So
Of course.
I'm not just saying that to make nice either. I truly feel that way.
Good call. Good call. His name is Reed, Pugilism Co. As always, brother, we appreciate you coming in and sharing your expert knowledge on sports. You keep trying, and it's really it's insufferable. You keep trying to get out of your contract, and I thought we've gotten past this hump. But it's clear we haven't.
As I've said before,
Yeah.
Given the pending and ongoing litigation, I am no longer at liberty to speak with you about that. So you just let me do what I do, and you just take it.
But you're in breach every time you try to shop your services out there.
Listen, that is
You're in breach. Okay?
There
you don't
may
talk
be no
about that stuff
there may
on
be
my
no
show.
validity to the
Yep.
contract at all.
Okay.
Never mind breach.
Okay.
So why don't you put that in your pipe and smoke it? Secondly, I can't wait to be the producer for Reed's new podcast. It's going to be great. I think we're going to do great
He
things
didn't even
with it.
offer it to you. You
Well,
tried
you
to
know
force
what?
your
Off
way
the air,
in. And
off
that
the air,
didn't
we're going
work
to
out.
talk, and I think it's
Okay?
going to be fine.
I'm going to let everybody in the world know right now the Boston Bad Boy is off limits. I'm not even negotiating with you, so don't even ask. Okay?
You don't have the
That's
power
the
to
end of that.
negotiate
I just did it.
with me,
I
for me.
I just put it out there. What do you mean? That's a verbal contract for the world there.
Is this show over
Okay?
yet?
No. We got plenty more to go there, pal. All right? I got something for you. You wait. Folks, up next, the Duke is going to straighten the Boston Bad Boy out, which I love to do. But before we get to that, listen, head over to YouTube, okay? Type in Duke Loves Rasslin. We have all of our previous episodes archived, some really good gems in there. I mean, Peter Vesey. We have our friend there, Lenny, a.k.a. the original hitman, Scott McKenzie. Rudy Boy Gonzalez.
Oh, boy.
Steve Do It To It Cox. I mean, you name it. We have who's who.
I haven't seen Rudy chatting too much lately. What's he do? Is he busy? Is he in hiding? What is going on?
You know, word on the street is that Rudy did a shotgun wedding. He got hitched.
Really?
That's word on the street. I'm not going to say.
Wow.
I'm not going to say anymore. I don't want to put his business out there.
Someone's trying to
But
make
he's-
an honest man out of him?
Someone's trying to make an honest man out of him. Clean him
That
up.
sounds like a full-time job.
Clean him up. You know?
Boy, oh boy.
Yep. So shout out to
explains
Rudy and the family there.
They shut off his internet?
I think so. I think they told me, you got to clean up your act there, But it's interesting. You brought up Rudy, and before we go to our break here, I just want to say one thing. And I'm gonna speak to my friends out there in the WWE.
You don't have friends.
Stop it right now.
In the WWE or elsewhere.
I am sick and tired of the WWE putting out the list of who trained their wrestlers, and when they get to Daniel Bryan, the only name they put there is Shawn Michaels. I understand that Shawn Michaels owned the wrestling school.
Sure.
But Daniel Bryan himself says in interviews, Rudy Boy Gonzalez was the one in the ring with us, taking the bumps, taught us how to wrestle.
What do you think? You think it's just clerical oversight?
I don't know. And Rudy's part of the system over there, and he wrestled in WWE for years, and he wrestled with the NWA, and he was in WCW. It's not like this guy is not part of the family. So Vince McMahon, you're a good friend of mine.
No,
I don't like to tell you how to do your job.
But you might actually be hurting Rudy's cause by saying that Vince McMahon is your friend.
No, he is my friend.
No.
So I'm just putting it out there. Vince, come on, okay? One of the top trainers in the world, Mr. Rudy Boy Gonzalez. Let's put a little bit more acknowledgement out there because the wrestlers themselves acknowledge him. It's time for you to acknowledge him a little bit better there. And that's my take.
Hey, this is Daniel Richards, the progressive liberal. I want you to remember to vote Democrat, turn this country around, continue listening to one of the best out there, the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast.
All right, Boston Bad Boy. So I told you I got a special surprise.
I don't want your special surprises.
Well, because, I usually we do the Ask Duke where I ask you to read listener-submitted content.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing that anymore.
You
clowns that send fan mail in.
Give me a break. But or you do your little foolish question.
No, I don't have a question. I have theories, and I put the puzzle pieces together, much like Robert Mueller. And I am getting to the bottom of the debauchery and the disgusting habits of the WWE. People you call friends.
Stop it right now. Well, anyway, I got somebody special on the line here. We're talking about a former WWF Women's Champion, okay? This lady has done it all. She's seen it all, and she does not bite her tongue, okay? So without further ado, welcome to the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast, one of the baddest wrestlers on the planet, Jazz.
Thank you. But I'm considered one of the baddest bitch. Not one of, but I'm considered as the baddest bitch of wrestling.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you better get your story straight, Duke.
Yeah, I don't want any problems with this woman here.
Get it together.
Okay. See, Jazz, I just want you to know I'm very afraid of you, so I got to watch what I have to say because I know you can crush me with one hand. Now, you are a former WWF Women's Champion.
I am the last WWF Women's Champion. I am the first WWE Women's Champion.
Wow.
Get your facts straight, all right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Tell us about that time in your career there. How did it feel to achieve both of those milestones?
Greatest accomplishment, it's something, the moment I stepped foot in the ring, that's something that was my biggest dream was to become, at the time, the WWF Women's Champion. The ultimate goal was to get a job there with that company. But then once you're there, it's all about that gold. It's all about that title. And that's what I fought for, and I bust my ass for, and therefore I received it, I earned it, and there you have it.
That's right. And it's funny, too, because you had so many classic matches in the company there. You had some great rivalries. But I'll tell you right now, my favorite rivalry of yours, and it's been going on for, well over a decade, almost 2 decades, is your rivalry with Simply Luscious. So let's talk about that.
Simply Luscious.
Whoa. Now, she's a friend of mine here, Jazz. Hold on a second here. What do you mean here?
I don't give a damn. I mean, you're interviewing me, right?
Yes,
is the interview about me or is it about you?
No, it's about you. It's about you. I'm sorry.
All right.
Why is it that you and Simply Luscious have traveled all over this nation, even outside of the country, and have beat each other up for so long?
Because she wants what I have. And if you notice, each time we're in the ring together, I'm a champion. So therefore, she's chasing what I have. But unfortunately, she never gets it. Okay, someone posted some match we had years ago where she went over and won, but I be damn, it took 3 people to help her win. So,
Wow.
My God, I don't know if that's a, oh, yay, she won, or like, oh, that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it explains why her and Duke are friends. He can't even win when he's got 7 or 8 friends. So I can see why he likes to, he's on that losing side of things.
Uh-huh.
Okay. See, now what is it? Paul on Duke Day here.
Absolutely.
Come on, Boston bad boy.
Because you don't get your facts straight when our guests come on.
Yeah.
I don't
Losers hang with losers.
Exactly.
See?
Thank you, Jazz, for coming on and straightening this guy out.
Jesus, we are talking
Losers hang with losers.
We are talking to legendary wrestler Jazz. She is the former WWF Women's Champion and the last.
The female fighting phenom.
That's right. And in fact, you have a match coming up, speaking of Simply Luscious, and your feud that just won't end. It's like you're going to keep going at it until you both destroy each other.
Oh, my God. I'm hoping this is the last one. I'm so tired of throwing Luscious around the ring. My God. Like, will it ever end?
Well,
Will it ever end?
June 23rd in Denham Springs at the Recreational Center. Okay.
In Louisiana.
Yes, ma'am.
My backyard. That's my backyard.
The queen of the pack. Okay.
I like that. You know that, right? You know that.
That's who you are.
Queen of the pack. You damn Skippy. You're right.
You're gonna be
of the pack, baby.
Are you going to be defending that NWA championship against Simply Luscious?
I'm not gonna say.
Uh-oh.
I just want the fans to come out and see.
Oh.
You never know. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. How about that?
See, you're on your own terms. I understand that.
And you damn right I am. As a champ, you are. I put it on the line when I'm ready to put it on the line.
Speaking of which, what is going on? I mean, the internet practically exploded this past week. Some fans reached out to you and asked you a question about current WWE superstar Charlotte Flair.
Yes. Honestly, it started out just me wanting to hear a fan's point of view of, like, how would they, see or view Charlotte and I facing one another in the ring. It wasn't nothing meant that I'm challenging her. I mean, she's working for Vince. I'm fucking working in Denham Springs. I mean, so, it is what it is. But if the opportunity ever comes, I would like to see, how the fan would accept that, adjust to that. Like 2 heels, like who would get the heel pop, who would turn babyface. You know what I'm saying? It's just something interesting that I thought that the fans would love to see. And me personally, I would love to work her. I watched her. I love her swag. She got a little swag, and I just would love to, to see who would be the most dominant in that match. Who would the fans actually cheer for and who would they boo? Like heel versus heel. And, it's just something. It was a thought that just ran through my mind and just, hey,
So who wins? We got the Queen going up against the Phenom. Who wins?
Well, I'm going with the Phenom. I mean, if you ask me personally, I'm going with the Phenom. But, you have these keyboard warriors, of course they go with the Queen, But it's all good, I like I said, I love her work. I love her swag, She's, Ric Flair's daughter, and my dad's name is James Moore. So,
damn right.
Yeah.
Shout out to James Moore. What's up, Pops?
Shout out to James Moore. Damn right. So it would just be, something I feel that the fans would really, come out to see.
Listen.
But will it happen? Honestly, I doubt it. I honestly doubt it. Unless she gets fired and comes to the Indies, And then maybe possibly, we will face one another. But it's just I think it'll be an interesting match just to see, heel versus heel, her persona versus my persona.
Well, listen,
You know.
shout out to my good friend Vince McMahon. I think it's time. We need to see this. This is like the match of the millennium here. We want to see the legend, okay? Jazz taking on the Queen, Charlotte. This would be a match made in heaven. We can do it at SummerSlam. We could do it at WrestleMania. But I'm talking about two.
Yeah, we can do it in my backyard. I don't give a shit.
You just want to get your hands on her, huh?
Well, I mean, it's just something, we book it. Hey, book it anywhere. I just think it'll be something interesting, And honestly, it's nothing against her or who she is. I mean, it's just, sometimes you look back in your career and, fortunately, I have the ability to take time off. I take 6 months off at a time. Wow. I am a wife. I'm a mother. I have a job. I'm a correction officer, law enforcement. So, I lost my train of thought here.
I wouldn't want to mess with Jazz, the correctional offer. Jesus, you've beaten people up all over the place, so they better not get smart with you in that joint. Whoa.
Yeah, like I said, it's just something that I just think the fans would want to see. I would want to work her just to say that I've worked her, just to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just to say. And now I got it back now. Yeah. Over the years, I've been gone from WWE now for since 2006, possibly. And I had a few good runs on the Indies, and few championships, few this, Hall of Fame this, Hall of Fame that, whatever. But sometimes you seem or it feels as if people forget exactly who and what you've done for the business. Not saying that I made women wrestling. No, I mean, we got some kick-ass women in this business now, and kudos to all those girls. All of them. I'm so proud to have gotten to know some of those girls and worked some of them and been around them on some shows. So I don't down any women whatsoever in this business, because when I started, there wasn't any women. I had to wrestle men in ECW, for peak's sake. So for any woman in this business right now, I'm all about it. I'm all about women wrestling now. So, but if someone asks me if I could pick and choose one person that I would love to work, and of course I said I would say Charlotte. I mean, who wouldn't want to go for the top,
Yeah, that's a match made in heaven.
Her dad says it's the best. In order to be the best, you got to beat the best, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, Jazz, with your career sort of being a little bit ahead of this quote-unquote women's revolution in wrestling, do you think that the WWE is sort of missing an opportunity by getting legends like you, champions like you, back into the ring, pulling it back in to sort of tie into that history that of the women who really, like you said, that you had to fight dudes? Like, are they missing an opportunity here?
I think so, and I think the fans are missing an opportunity. Not so much,
Absolutely.
WWE. I think the fans are missing the opportunity, and I just feel, there's something that the world would want to see. Hell, I want to see it. So,
well, it doesn't make sense to me necessarily that they're going to drag out, they're talking about bringing Hogan back or whatever. Like, what about the women wrestlers? What about the women wrestlers who have been there the whole time?
Lita done her thing. They made their little return in the Battle Royal. Trish, Molly Holly, Ivory into the Hall of Fame.
Finally.
Hell yeah.
Yep, finally.
Maclin.
Finally. Yep.
Yes, Ivory, I love Ivory to death. Let me tell you something about Ivory. When I did my tryout match with WWE in a dark match, she had no clue who I was. Molly Holly smartened her up to who I was and, talked about me. So she go, girl, I heard you're pretty badass, so you know what? Tonight is going to be all about you. And we went out there, and I tell you, she gave me one of the best matches that, man, she kudos to her. Ivory gave me an awesome match, and the crowd reactions. They actually told us that was like one of the best crowd reactions of a female's dark match probably in the history.
Well, come on. We're talking about Jazz. Like you said, you were wrestling men, and you're going up against Tina Ferrari, right? Remember, she was in Glow and what have you, so she was a legend even at that point.
Exactly. So I'm wrestling a legend who's, acknowledging me, little old me who just started in ECW, which a lot of people consider that's a no-nonsense company.
Mm-hmm.
But, but to some, that's the real fucking deal, and that's how we were.
No, that's awesome.
It wasn't like Jazz is a girl, take it easy on her. They were like, no, you go out there and you beat the shit out of Jazz, and Jazz, you bring it as if he stole your fucking lunch money or if he slapped your mama. And that's how Paul Lee did it. Honestly, he really did. That's how he did it. That's how he treated us.
Was Paul Lee the best promoter that you worked for?
Yes, because he made everyone a star.
That's right.
He did.
That's
he
right.
did. I don't care if you was the opening match, you was a superstar. Main event, you was a superstar. He made everyone into a superstar. That's what I loved about Paul Lee. He didn't let, no one be the mid-card to be, or he's a jobber, everyone was a jobber. I mean, the guy that was with Simon Diamond, Big Dick.
Oh, yeah.
Big Dick was a star. I mean, so it's just, I love the way Paulie did things. I love working for that company. We were such a family. There was no hostility amongst each other. I mean, every day we wrestled every weekend, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we would get to that building. We hug and kiss one another every day.
Wow, family.
Every day.
Family.
Every day.
Wow.
Yes.
And speaking of family, how's your husband Rodney Mack doing?
Rodney's doing well. He's doing his own thing. He has a lawn service he's running. He does a lot of things on the side here, besides wrestling. At one time, well, God, I mean, he has like 20 belts.
That's right.
I'm like, what, are you trying to break a record or what? Yeah.
We had a young man on the show last year by the name of Urban Legend. He's a young up-and-coming indie wrestler, and there's a video out there of Irvin saying something crazy to Rodney, and Rodney beat the hell out of. I mean, he beat some respect into that young man. And
Rodney's a little different from me. I'm a tad bit nicer, which he hates it. He hates it. He's like, you're too fucking nice, but.
Rodney ain't playing with them young boys on the indie scene, though.
When he's out there, it's like, and God forsake, please don't say anything to piss him off. I've seen Rodney slap referees. I mean, you never know what's going to happen when Rodney's on the show.
Can we get him to come over here and slap Duke around a little bit?
No, please don't. Please, Red Dog, I love you, man.
Let me tell you, this is a fucking shoot, like, seriously, like, for real. One referee told him, like, because, he dipped. He said, you better get that fucking dip out your mouth before you get in my ring.
Whoa.
We were in Texas, and Ronnie's like, what you say? He's like, you're going to have to get that fucking dip out your mouth before you get in my fucking ring. And Ronnie slapped the shit out of him. Knocked the entrance down. I'm like, oh, my God.
You know what's funny about that? As serious as Rodney is about you got to. It's all about respect.
Sure.
One of the main things I've always heard.
Like, he's a man first. That's his thing.
He's a man first.
Yeah, right.
But
he's a man first. That's his whole thing. I'm a man.
That's right. But the main theme I've always heard from the veterans is Rodney Mack is one of the safest people you have in the ring. Number one.
Yeah.
And as long as you show him respect, he's going to take care of you in the ring.
Most definitely.
So it's interesting.
I mean, that's how I am too. You know. But my thing now is I like working with the younger girls and where I can teach them that less is more. Because I'm trying to tell everyone you want longevity in this business. I mean, some of these girls, they're doing cool shit, but I'm seeing some 5-year careers here instead of 20-year careers. You know what I mean?
No,
I've been in business over 20 years, so. the way these girls are going, I don't see them doing 20 years. I just don't see it.
You know, you bring up a good point, and we've had a friend of the show, Big Vito LaGrasso. He's been on a few times, and he's reiterated the same point. And one of the things that he's spoken about is concussions and CTE, and we're starting to see a lot of that stuff happening in various sports, but especially in pro wrestling too.
Yes, you get out of bed and you can't walk. I mean, it's serious. It's serious. I have those moments.
Wow.
You know,
even you.
I have those moments. Yeah, my knees locked. I mean, I've bought 2 mattresses in the last 6 months. That's how serious it is.
Wow. Wait, so what is your biggest advice for an up and coming wrestler to avoid some of these pitfalls? Because I mean, you're talking about your brain. That's Jesus.
Yeah. First of all, I'm old school, so I still love I'm with Tully Blanchard's, the Bob Ordens and the Junkyard Dogs.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can go out there and have a hell of a match working an arm.
That's right. I've seen you do
it. If you notice in my career, only time I left my feet was probably if I did it myself.
Yep. Jump. You would do a drop kick or what have you every now and then.
Drop kick, leg drop.
Yeah.
I never taken a back drop. I never went over the top rope. You know, it's just things that you have to really trust someone with your body. And I felt that if I didn't have control of my body, I wasn't safe.
That's deep.
That's just. I mean, I'll be a horse for you. I'll carry you, pick you up, and push you to the moon. That's what it takes. But as far as me trusting you, I don't know.
It ain't happening.
It ain't happening.
So Jazz, I know
especially now more than ever. I mean, I got way more now than I ever had in my life.
Yes.
I'm talking about my girls.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
so,
kids. Yes.
I got to be here for my babies.
So, Jazz, I know that one of your signature moves is the bitch clamp, and I want to just ask your permission to use that as Duke's nickname going here on forward.
Well, why not? Everybody else been using it.
Oh, my goodness. Stop it.
So we'll call because he can't get his facts straight. So until he does, his new nickname is Bitch Clamp Bennett.
Give me a break.
There it is.
Hey, why not?
You know,
and look at that, endorsed by the woman herself.
I'm going to get Rodney Mack to come here and slap you around Boston Bad Boy. Jazz, if the fans want to reach out to you, because let me tell you something, you to this day, I mean, we have a pro wrestling group in Facebook and on Twitter we do a lot of things. Your name is one of the names that continuously pops up as someone that folks fondly think about and remember you. I'm serious. Like the fans love you.
I'm never on social media. I just started last week, the week before last, when I said the shit about Charlotte. I'm never really on social media because I don't have time. I mean, as you can tell today, you talked to me a couple hours ago. I'm running errands, taking a girl to the store, getting them a dress for their dance tomorrow. I mean, I got to come home. I got to cook, so that's odd. But like I said, the proof is in the pudding. And it's in black and white. It can't be erased. So people can say what they want to say. If I had another 4 or 5 years run in WWE, then hey, they'll be calling me the fucking greatest. I'll be the queen. But unfortunately, they said we wrestled too much like men when I was there. I said, well, I guess that's it for me. Because there's no way I can go out there and have a panty and bra match.
Oh, hell no. No.
That's not me.
When you have the skill level that you had. I mean, you were a lot more than just eye candy. You were a wrestler.
I've never had any plastic surgery, which I'm not saying I don't want it, but I've never had it. But, no, years ago, Vince and Paulie, they told me, like, I don't need that because I'm so different, and that would continue to make me different. It's like the way I wrestle and my style is like, you don't need boobs. It's like, that's why they came up with the term of saying my TNA is for talent and ability, not for tits and ass.
Well, I'm just going to end this on a funny note here, Jazz, and please tell Rodney Mack I'm just telling the truth here, so please don't beat me up. But, all the photo shoots that you ladies would do, especially during that period where they were a lot more prevalent, Your beat shoots are still out there and still being shared. When folks put up photos of wrestlers that they think fondly of, they still use your shots. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you.
Yeah. You know that saying, black don't crack.
That's right. Listen, June 23rd, Denham Springs Recreational Center. We're talking about the legend Jazz. She's going to take on her biggest opponent there, Simply Luscious.
If she feels like it.
If she feels like it. She might bring the title. She might not.
Right.
But she's definitely going to bring some whoop ass to that match there.
As we say in the dog pound, I'm going to rat-a-tat-tat-tat that ass. June 23rd.
This is Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.
What better way to end the show than a great quote from a legend like Jazz? Thank you for joining us. Also, our main man, Reed from Pugilism Co. Folks.
Smart guy. I don't know why he keeps calling the show, though. He's too smart for it.
But how about Jazz? Listen, Rodney Mack, Jazz's husband. You got to come on the show sometime, brother.
Stop.
Beat up the Boston Bad Boy
now
for me.
You're being desperate. You're clawing.
Join us next week, Boston Bad Boy. I'm going to have him do it there. Rodney Mack.
Because I'm going to be done.